Do you ever wake up late, feeling like the day has already slipped out of your hands? The alarm rings, you hit snooze, and suddenly your morning is gone, and so is your energy, your focus, and your momentum. Today, we are going to solve that. We're going to talk about how waking up early can rewire your mind, reshape your energy, and transform your future. The first hour of the morning is not simply a passage of time, it is the most influential window of the entire day. The way you wake up and the energy you carry into those first 60 minutes creates an imprint that ripples into every action, every thought, and every emotional response that follows. When you open your eyes, your mind is at its most impressionable state. You are shifting from the subconscious space of sleep, where dreams and stored memories linger, into the conscious state where decisions are made. This transition is delicate, powerful, and full of potential. If you waste it, you unconsciously hand over control to old habits, distractions, and outside noise. But if you seize it, you program your entire day with clarity, energy, and intention. Think about the mornings when you've woken up late. The moment you realize you overslept, your body rushes into a stress response. Your heart rate climbs, your mind races, and instead of starting the day with creativity or calm, you start in survival mode. You chase time, you rush through routines. You react rather than create. The whole day feels heavy because it began with a vibration of urgency. The first hour set the tone, and everything else was colored by it. Now consider the opposite. You wake up early, before the noise of the world demands your attention. The air is still. The sun may not even be up yet. There is silence, and within that silence, space to breathe. You are not rushing, you are choosing. Instead of being dragged by time, you are ahead of it. That single shift, from being behind to being ahead, changes your psychology. It instills a sense of control, of groundedness, of power. And as you move into the day, that energy guides your interactions, your focus, and your decisions. The first hour is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant there, whether they are seeds of intention, gratitude, stillness, or chaos, will grow throughout the day. If you start with scrolling endlessly through your phone, comparing yourself to others, or reading headlines filled with negativity, you plant seeds of anxiety and distraction. Those seeds grow silently in the background of your mind, influencing your moods and behaviors. But if you begin with quiet reflection, a few deep breaths, movement, journaling, or visualization, you are planting seeds of focus, strength, and vision. Those seeds grow into a day that feels aligned with who you want to be. The reason the first hour is so powerful lies in the state of your brain. When you wake up, your mind lingers in a theta state, an in-between state of consciousness where your subconscious is still accessible. This means your thoughts and emotions in that window bypass resistance and sink deeper into your identity. You are literally shaping your brain, programming it like soft clay. If you use that time unconsciously, filling it with worry, distraction, or repetition of yesterday's problems, you lock those patterns deeper into yourself. But if you direct that time toward conscious creation, visualizing your future self, practicing gratitude, or moving your body, you shape a new pattern, a new energy, and ultimately a new identity. It is not about how much you do in the first hour. It is about what quality of energy you embody. 10 minutes of intentional stillness can be more transformative than an hour of scattered multitasking. What matters is that you step into your day with awareness rather than autopilot. That single choice rewires how you experience time. Instead of the day controlling you, you control the day. Instead of being a prisoner of stress, you become a creator of calm. Many people underestimate this power because they treat mornings as something to endure, not something to design. They drag themselves out of bed, pour coffee, and stumble into obligations. They forget that the morning is not simply the beginning of the day. It is the foundation of it. Imagine constructing a building without caring about its foundation. Even if the design is beautiful, the entire structure is fragile. Your day works the same way. Without a strong foundation, no matter how many tasks you complete, there will always be instability beneath it. But with a solid foundation, you can face challenges, surprises, and demands with strength and balance. When you wake up early and give attention to the first hour, you send yourself a message: I matter. My state matters. My future matters. That message is not abstract. It becomes embodied. It becomes real. You walk differently. You think differently. You act differently. Because you began your day from a place of choice rather than reaction. Over time, this repetition shapes your identity. You no longer just wake up early as an action. You wake up early as a reflection of who you are. The first hour becomes a ritual of self-creation. The truth is, life is not transformed by sudden, massive changes. It is shaped by consistent moments of alignment. The first hour is one of the most consistent opportunities. You have to step into alignment daily. And every day you choose to claim it, you are not just creating a productive morning. You are sculpting the kind of life you want to live. Waking up late is never just about sleeping longer. It is about repeating patterns that keep you tied to the past. Every time you hit the snooze button, you are not only postponing the day, you are postponing your life. You are reinforcing an identity that says comfort is more important than growth. Familiarity is more important than possibility, and habit is more powerful than intention. This cycle of delay might feel harmless in the moment, but over time it shapes your destiny. It keeps you locked into the same reality you are trying to escape, and until you break it, you cannot step into the future you are envisioning. The cycle of delay begins with unconscious choices. The alarm goes off, and rather than rising, you choose the soft whisper of the old self. 5 more minutes. That small decision seems insignificant, yet it is the same pattern that influences bigger areas of life. You delay the project you want to start. You delay the conversation you need to have. You delay the commitment to your health, your passion, your vision. The pattern is not about the alarm clock. It is about the identity you continue to feed. By surrendering to delay in the morning, you strengthen the muscle of procrastination in every area of your life. When you wake up late, you are not simply giving your body more rest. You are handing control to the unconscious programming that resists change. The human brain craves familiarity because it feels safe. Waking up late allows you to remain in the comfort of what you know. But comfort is not creation. Comfort is not growth. The life you desire requires energy, presence, and commitment, none of which thrive in the cycle of postponement. This is why breaking free from late mornings is about so much more than gaining an extra hour. It is about declaring that you are done living under the rule of your old patterns. The moment you rise early, you send a message to yourself and to your subconscious mind. The future matters more than the past. You disrupt the old loop. You tell your body and your mind that you are willing to leave behind the familiar in order to create something new. This act may feel small, but its impact is enormous because you are no longer agreeing to live in the cycle of delay. You are training yourself to act in alignment with the future you want rather than the habits that have defined you. Think about the way energy shifts when you start your day late versus when you start it early. Waking up late compresses your time, forces you into reaction, and leaves you feeling as though the day is controlling you, rather than the other way around. It's not just about hours lost, it's about energy lost. You step into the world already behind, already chasing, already stressed. This creates a vibration of lack and urgency that colors the entire day. But when you wake early, you are ahead of time. You move slowly but intentionally. You carry energy that says, I am in control. I choose my pace. I create my reality. That single shift pulls you out of survival mode and into creation mode. The cycle of delay is often invisible because it hides behind rationalizations. You tell yourself you need more rest, that you will wake up earlier tomorrow, that one morning does not matter. But each of those thoughts is the voice of the old self trying to keep its grip on you. Every time you agree with it, you strengthen the neural pathways that support procrastination. Every time you resist it, even once, you weaken its control and build new pathways for discipline, clarity, and freedom. This is not simply about waking up. It is about rewiring your brain, reshaping your identity, and teaching your body a new truth. Breaking the cycle of delay requires awareness. You must see that the decision you make in the morning is not neutral. It is either pulling you back into the past or propelling you forward into the future. When you choose to rise, even when it is uncomfortable, you are taking authority over your mind and body. You are proving to yourself that you are no longer willing to repeat yesterday's limitations. You are willing to endure a moment of discomfort to gain a lifetime of freedom. Over time, what once felt like a battle becomes natural. The more you break the cycle, the easier it becomes to maintain. At first, it takes conscious effort and energy. Your old patterns will resist, your body will beg for comfort, and your mind will whisper excuses. But if you persist, the cycle itself begins to dissolve. Waking up early no longer feels like a task. It feels like an identity. You no longer have to force yourself, because you have become the type of person who rises early, the type of person who no longer negotiates with delay. This is why early mornings are such a powerful metaphor for transformation. They remind you that change does not happen in grand, dramatic gestures, but in small, consistent acts of defiance against the old self. Each morning is a chance to choose. Will you repeat yesterday, or will you create tomorrow? The cycle of delay will always invite you back, because it is comfortable, but comfort cannot hold the life you are destined for. Only conscious choice can do that. The truth is, delay is never about time, it is about fear. Fear of stepping into the unknown, fear of leaving behind what you have always been, fear of becoming someone greater than your excuses. By breaking the cycle in the morning, you confront that fear at its root. You say to yourself, I am not afraid to rise. I am not afraid to live fully awake. I am not afraid to become who I was meant to be. There is something extraordinary about the stillness of the early morning. It is a kind of silence that carries weight, a silence that is not empty, but alive, charged with possibility. In those moments, before the world begins its restless movement, before the phones light up with notifications, before the noise of traffic and conversations fills the air, you are given a rare gift: space. That space is not passive, it is powerful. It is in that stillness where the deepest clarity emerges, where your thoughts take shape with precision, and where your energy aligns with a higher frequency that cannot be accessed in the chaos of the day. When you wake up late, you step into a world already moving at full speed. The noise, the urgency, and the demands of others grab hold of your attention instantly. Your energy is pulled outward, and before you realize it, you are already reacting. But in the stillness of the early morning, before the world wakes up, there are no external demands. There is no need to rush. You are free to connect inward, to listen to yourself, to choose the state in which you will live. That choice, made in silence, becomes the foundation of your strength for the entire day. Stillness is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is not avoidance. Stillness is a force that allows you to ground yourself before you engage with the world. In stillness, the mind slows down enough for you to notice the patterns of thought you carry. You can see clearly which emotions belong to the past, which ones are unnecessary, and which ones you want to carry forward. Without stillness, those patterns run unchecked, pulling you into cycles of stress, fear, or distraction. But with stillness, you step into awareness, and awareness is the beginning of transformation. In those quiet moments, creativity flows more naturally. The mind, unburdened by noise, begins to generate ideas and visions that would otherwise be drowned out during the day. Many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders have spoken about the value of early mornings, because that, when inspiration whispers the loudest, you are not just awake, you are receptive. You are attuned to possibilities that go unnoticed when the world is loud. By cultivating stillness, you give yourself permission to access the part of you that dreams bigger, sees further, and feels more deeply connected to what truly matters. Stillness is also a form of energy alignment. When you rise early and sit in silence, your breath slows, your nervous system calms, and your body shifts out of survival mode. Instead of rushing into stress, you anchor yourself in calmness. That calmness becomes the lens through which you experience the rest of your day. Challenges no longer feel as heavy, conversations flow more naturally, and decisions become clearer, not because the world has changed, but because your state has changed. This is the power of stillness. It does not eliminate problems, but it equips you to meet them with balance and strength. Many people confuse business with productivity. They fill every moment with tasks, noise, or distractions, believing they are moving forward. But without stillness, productivity loses direction. You might accomplish many things, yet none of them move you closer to who you want to become. Stillness provides perspective. It allows you to step back and ask, am I living intentionally, or am I simply moving? Am I creating my life, or am I reacting to it? These questions, born in silence, realign you with your true priorities and prevent you from being consumed by the noise of the day. There is also a spiritual dimension to stillness. Early mornings create a sacred atmosphere where you feel connected to something greater than yourself. Whether you call it presence, consciousness, or simply awareness, it is in those moments of quiet that you sense your place in the larger flow of life. You recognize that your energy is not separate from the energy of the world, but a part of it. This realization brings peace, humility, and empowerment. It reminds you that when you act from stillness, you act in harmony with the universe rather than in conflict with it. Stillness is not always comfortable, especially for those accustomed to constant motion. Sitting in silence can feel unsettling at first because it reveals what is usually hidden under distraction, unprocessed emotions, lingering fears, and unresolved desires. Yet this is where the true power lies. By facing these truths in stillness, you release their grip on you. You begin to understand that you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. That awareness, strengthened in the quiet of the morning, becomes your anchor throughout the day. When you choose to wake early, you are choosing to step into this power. You are choosing to experience the richness of silence, the clarity of thought, the calm of presence, and the alignment of energy. You are choosing to live from a place of strength rather than distraction. And as you make this choice consistently, stillness becomes more than a moment in the morning. It becomes a way of being. You carry it with you into meetings, into conversations, into challenges, into every moment of your life. This is the transformation that stillness brings. It is not about doing nothing. It is about creating everything from a state of alignment and power. When you wake up early, you are not simply gaining extra hours in the day. You are opening space for the person you are becoming. The early morning is not just a block of time. It is a container of potential. It is an invitation to step out of yesterday's identity and into the version of yourself that exists beyond limitation. Most people wake up already caught in the momentum of the past. They carry forward the same patterns, the same thoughts, and the same emotional states as the day before. In that way, nothing new is created because they are living in the same cycle. But when you choose to rise early, you interrupt that cycle. You carve out a sacred window where you are free from the pull of yesterday. And in that freedom, you can begin to shape the identity of your future self. The future self does not emerge by accident. It is not created in rushed hours filled with distractions and obligations. It is created in spaces of intentionality, moments when you decide to align with who you want to become rather than who you have been. Early mornings offer precisely that. The stillness of the dawn is like a blank canvas, untouched by the world's demands. In that silence, you can design your day with purpose. You can ask yourself not, "What do I need to do today?" but rather, "Who do I want to be today?" That question shifts everything, because life is not only about completing tasks, it is about embodying an identity. If you wake up late, you often step immediately into a reactive state. The phone rings, the messages demand answers, the responsibilities call your name, and before you know it, the day is already writing itself for you. There is no room to connect with vision, no space to hear the quiet voice of your higher self. Your future is drowned out by the noise of the present. But when you rise early, you claim a space untouched by the world's demands. That space becomes the workshop of the self, where you rehearse your future in your mind, where you visualize the life you want to live, where you condition your body to feel emotions it has not yet experienced in reality, but will if you continue to embody them. Creating space for the future self is about more than time. It is about energy. The mornings carry a unique frequency, one that is quieter, calmer, and more expansive. When you align with that energy, you align with possibility. You are no longer confined to yesterday's stress or fear. You are free to create from a place of openness. This is why so many who rise early report a sense of creativity, inspiration, and connection that they cannot access at any other point in the day. In those moments, you are not bound by limitation. You are connected to potential. This space is also where you can practice being the person you aspire to become. If your future self is disciplined, confident, and centered, then waking up early gives you the chance to rehearse those qualities now. You are not waiting for the future to arrive, you are embodying it in the present. Over time, those rehearsals become reality. The act of rising early itself becomes a symbol that you are living from your future identity rather than your past conditioning. Every morning you choose to get up, you reinforce the belief, "I am already that person." Most people think change begins with external events, new opportunities, new jobs, new relationships. But real change begins in the inner world, in the identity you decide to live from. The early morning is where you can construct that inner world without interference. You can write down your vision, meditate on it, visualize it, or simply sit in the feeling of being that future self. Each of these practices imprints new instructions into your subconscious mind, guiding your thoughts and behaviors throughout the day. Slowly, your external reality begins to mirror the identity you are embodying internally. Creating space for the future self also means creating freedom from the past. When you wake late and rush into the day, you often fall into the same emotions that have been running your life. Stress, impatience, frustration, or distraction. Those emotions belong to old patterns, and they keep you anchored to the old self. But when you rise early and give yourself time before the world intrudes, you loosen that grip. You are no longer operating from the emotions of yesterday. You are generating the emotions of tomorrow. You are teaching your body that it is safe to feel calm, inspired, grateful, and powerful before any external event justifies it. That is how you break free from being a prisoner of the past and become a creator of the future. The space you create in the morning also sets the trajectory of your day. If you give yourself room to connect with vision, to move your body, to calm your mind, to focus on gratitude or creativity, the energy of that practice expands into the hours that follow. The day no longer feels random. It feels designed. You notice yourself making choices that align with your higher vision. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You act differently because you began the day by stepping into the energy of your future self. That alignment is not something that happens by chance. It happens because you made the conscious choice to create space for it. When you think about your future self, the one who is healthier, more focused, more fulfilled, imagine how they begin their mornings. Do they sleep in late, scrambling to catch up, already stressed? Or do they rise early, grounded, intentional, ready to meet the day with clarity and strength? If you want to become that version of yourself, you must start practicing now. Each early morning is an opportunity to embody that reality, not someday, but today. This is how transformation occurs. Not in sudden leaps, but in consistent daily choices that build the identity of the person you are destined to be. Waking up early is often seen as an act of discipline, a test of willpower that separates the motivated from the complacent. But willpower alone is a fragile tool. It can break under fatigue, stress, or distraction. True transformation does not come from forcing yourself to act. It comes from becoming the kind of person who naturally acts in alignment with their highest intentions. When you wake up early consistently, you are not simply exercising discipline. You are transforming your willpower into identity. You are becoming someone whose very nature aligns with growth, focus, and purpose, and from that identity, action flows effortlessly, rather than being fought for. The first time you wake up early intentionally, it feels like a struggle. Your body protests, your mind bargains, and your emotions resist the unfamiliar. You may tell yourself, "I'll just rest a little longer," or "I can start tomorrow." That inner dialogue is the voice of your old identity, the part of you that has grown comfortable with comfort, with delay, with habit. Each time you obey that voice, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows the pull of ease rather than the call of potential. But each time you resist, each time you rise despite discomfort, you are sending a signal to yourself: I am capable. I am committed. I am becoming a different kind of person. That signal, repeated over days and weeks, transforms what once required effort into a natural expression of your identity. Willpower is finite. Every day it can be depleted by challenges, decisions, and distractions. Identity, on the other hand, is sustainable. When rising early becomes part of who you are, you no longer rely on a fragile resource. You act automatically because it is congruent with your self-image. You do not have to negotiate with yourself or debate with your mind. The action aligns with your sense of self. The shift from doing to being is subtle but profound. It moves you from a place of struggle into a place of flow. You no longer wake up early because you force yourself. You wake up early because that is who you are. Transforming willpower into identity requires more than habit. It requires awareness and intention. It is not enough to follow a routine mechanically. You must consciously decide who you are becoming. You must see yourself as the person who rises early, who greets the day with energy and purpose. You must feel the embodiment of that identity, imagining not just the action, but the state of being that comes with it. What does this future self feel like? How do they carry themselves? How do they think? By experiencing these qualities in the present, you train your subconscious mind to recognize this identity as real, and over time, it becomes automatic. The transformation is visible in every aspect of life. Once the morning becomes a declaration of identity rather than an exercise of willpower, other areas follow. Productivity increases because the mind is primed in clarity. Decisions become easier because they are filtered through the lens of who you are becoming. Emotional resilience strengthens because you are no longer dependent on external circumstances to motivate action. You are internally anchored. Each day becomes a continuation of your self-concept rather than a battle against inertia. The process is also a form of self-respect. When you consistently show up for yourself in the morning, you are signaling that your growth matters, that your potential is worth investing in, and that your life is worth creating deliberately. This self-respect extends beyond the morning into all areas of your life. It strengthens relationships, professional pursuits, and personal goals because it cultivates the internal consistency that others unconsciously recognize and respect. Identity built from early morning practice radiates outward, influencing the world around you. There is a subtle but critical difference between relying on willpower and embodying identity. Willpower is conditional. It works when you feel strong, rested, and motivated. It falters when fatigue or stress arises. Identity, however, is unconditional. It persists even when external circumstances are difficult, even when emotions fluctuate, and even when motivation is low. The person who has transformed willpower into identity rises early not because they are motivated in the moment, but because it is a reflection of who they are at their core. That is the power of identity. It frees action from dependence on fluctuating mental states. The early morning is a laboratory for this transformation. Every day presents an opportunity to practice aligning action with identity. You wake not to test your strength or endure discomfort, but to affirm and inhabit a version of yourself that already exists in possibility. You move from trying to be disciplined to living as someone disciplined. You move from struggling to acting naturally because it is congruent with your sense of self. Over time, the repetition of this choice rewires the mind, conditions the body, and reshapes the emotional patterns that have previously governed your life. Ultimately, transforming willpower into identity is about reclaiming sovereignty over your life. It is about no longer relying on external pressures, fleeting motivation, or momentary determination. It is about becoming someone whose actions are a natural expression of their values, intentions, and vision. When waking up early becomes a reflection of identity rather than a challenge of willpower, every morning becomes an act of self-realization, and every day becomes a continuation of the person you are choosing to become. Waking up early is far more than a simple habit. It is a pathway to transformation. Each morning offers a unique opportunity to step out of old patterns, reclaim your energy, and align with the person you are becoming. By embracing the first hour with intention, breaking free from the cycle of delay, and immersing yourself in the stillness that carries clarity and power, you create a foundation for growth that extends far beyond the morning itself. You are not just gaining extra hours. You are opening space for your future self, a self that lives with focus, purpose, and alignment. As you rise early, you move beyond relying on willpower and begin to embody identity. The act of waking early ceases to be a struggle and becomes a natural reflection of who you are. Every morning becomes a declaration, a rehearsal of your future, and a reinforcement of your highest intentions. The energy, clarity, and focus cultivated in these quiet hours ripple into every aspect of your life, shaping your decisions, your emotions, and your actions. The transformation that comes from rising early is not instantaneous, and it is not external. It is internal, subtle, and cumulative. Each morning you choose to wake with intention, you are building the self that acts from alignment rather than reaction, that moves from creation rather than delay, that embodies possibility rather than limitation. In this way, the simple act of rising early becomes a catalyst for a life lived deliberately, powerfully, and fully awake. By consistently embracing the mornings, you step into a reality where you are in control of your energy, your focus, and your destiny. You are no longer a passive participant in your own life. You are the creator of your experience. Every sunrise is an invitation to practice presence, purpose, and power. Through these small yet profound choices, you awaken not just to a new day, but to a new version of yourself. Stronger, clearer, and more aligned with the life you were meant to live.